Hello there and welcome to the first ever episode of Hail to the Chin, a specialised podcast for the Ash vs Evil Dead TV series that has just graced our lives finally. With me, I think all three of us are big Evil Dead fans. I know two of us certainly. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm very great, thank you. Very good.
And Sam, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
So how big, I know we all like Evil Dead at the end of the day. We all like Evil Dead, but how big of an Evil Dead fan are each of you exactly? Because I know I'm fucking massive, and I am talking about my penis. No, I'm not. I'm talking about my fan base style of Evil Dead. But I'm a big Evil Dead fan now. Steve?
Well, obviously, I have the original film's poster tattooed onto my chest.
Oh yes.
And I remember my dad rented it from the video shop at the bottom of the road. Came home, put it on the TV, and sat me on his lap about 2 years old when I watched it.
Wow, hardcore.
So, but I didn't really remember it, to be honest, because I was like a kid. But then I was about, when was this? It was just before 92. It was just before Army of Darkness's release, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to my granddad's and I sat there and he put the VHS on again. And I watched it and I came home and Mum said, "What's he shown you? Because you look like pale." I was like, "Oh, no, something Evil Dead." But then I watched Army of Darkness on Sky like 18 billion times.
Mm.
And then obviously the opening is sort of like a recap, isn't it, on Evil Dead 2?
Yeah.
So I think around probably a few weeks after Sky were pumping out Army of Darkness as like their big premiere of the week. Would have been about the only channel promoting it as a big premiere of the week.
Yeah, true.
Bravo was running Evil Dead 2 as well. And then from there, I connected the dots and I've just literally been into it ever since. I've still got all the VHS tapes.
Oh, wow.
Every time I go into a video store, I buy the new DVDs when they're out.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, I buy the VHS tapes when I find them in charity shops. I bought Evil Dead 2 on DVD simply because when I went into HMV, I picked it up, looked at the back, and it's got screenshots from Army of Darkness.
How random. Yeah, that's a rarity in itself.
Yeah, so I was like, fucking have that for £5.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, Sam, how about yourself?
Well, I'm the only one here without an Evil Dead tattoo. I think it was actually you, Steve, that first introduced me to the Evil Dead. I think I may have seen part of Evil Dead 2 at a very young age, but I remember we were hanging out one Saturday when you had the skate shop, and we were talking about something, and and you started bringing up Bruce Campbell, and I was like, this was 2003 sort of time, and you had the shop in Basildon,
sounds about right.
And I was like, Bruce Campbell, and you were like, yeah, Evil Dead, and you had the the DVD box set, in your shop, and you was like, take that home and watch it. And I went home and I watched all three of the films and all the features, especially the one where Bruce Campbell's going to all the conventions, and literally I went the next day, I bought it back up to you, and then went in HMV and bought my own, like the same box set. And I mean, I'm a big fan, definitely in the top 10, but obviously I don't think I'm as big as you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, mine...
No Jurassic Park.
I think my obsession first started... I remember the night that I saw it, there was a friend of mine called Tony Wheeler. I went down to his house during the 6 weeks holidays in... Oh, blimey, when was this? 1994 or 93 or something like that. And I went down to his house and he had borrowed Evil Dead from a kid that lived down the road from us, and he was like he was sort of the type of family that what they used to do, they had like a cabinet of videos that when they used to move home, they used to rent out loads of videotapes and then they'd move. So then they would move away from town. They'd never have to owe all the videotapes back. So they've got these. They had all of these like videotapes in like white cases instead of obviously like the actual released casing and stuff like that. But anyway, he borrowed the Evil Dead and he sat there and said, "Oh, apparently this film was banned. Like it's been banned for ages." And we was obviously you're young, you're a kid, and you're like, "Yeah, let's watch this." And I almost regretted watching it because it was the full uncut video nasty version. There was the scene with Scotty chopping up I think it was Linda. No, not Linda. God damn it, can't remember her name. What am I doing to myself? It showed the full scene of every single limb being chopped up, and that literally scarred me for fucking life. And my friend Tony only lives about 7 doors away from me, and it has never taken me so long to walk from his house to my house in the dark because I was so fucking scared. And I remember just being awake all night as well. And from then on, I was always curious as to whether there was like sequels to the film. And I remember one night when we got cable for the first ever time, the Sci-Fi Channel, you looked through the TV guide, found Evil Dead 2 in the Sci-Fi Channel. And I remember my dad going to bed and saying goodnight and that. And I remember staying up and even contemplating switching over to the channel because I knew the first one scared the fuck out of me so much that I was then flicking over to the Sci-Fi Channel and then flicking back because I was so scared. But then it got to the scene where Ash is sitting in the front room and Linda's head comes down and bites his hand, and then he starts obviously slamming her head around the house, and then the house ends up becoming possessed. And I was sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I watching here? It's like, this is just an acid trip. And then from then on, I just absolutely became obsessed with it. Like Steve, I've got a tattoo from the Army of Darkness graphic novel on the inside of my left arm, and I've got the deer head on the inside of my right arm that's laughing and has got groovy written above it. So
didn't you send the picture to Bruce Campbell on
yes, Twitter? He's tweeted me. Well, he's tweeted me twice in actual fact. I sent one for the graphic novel one, and he favorited and retweeted it. And then when I got the deer head done, I had a photograph of it, and I tweeted him saying, "I just need your approval, oh chinned one." And he retweeted it with a quote saying, "Damn, absolutely approved." And, you know,
he did an interview recently with the Nerdist. I don't know if you've heard it yet.
Yeah,
and he says he's got every photo that someone sends him, he saves, and he's got them all in a file, and he's going to get them all printed up one day. So
really?
You never know, he could have your one in there. Well, he probably has if.
Oh yeah.
Especially if he replied, he's seen it. So
yeah, definitely. But it's ever since then, I've been obsessed with it, and I always remember one day watching on a weekend. I was watching Gladiators, and then a break came on, and the Army of Darkness trailer happened, and I saw this before I'd seen the Evil Dead, and I was sitting there thinking, fucking like, what is that? And for years, I never knew what it was, and I could never remember what it was. And then
you're like Homer in The Simpsons, the Mr. Sparkle advert, and he's just like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. But then when I got round to seeing Evil Dead 2, and he ended up landing in the medieval period, it all just suddenly, like the moment the penny dropped, that I was like, oh my god! Like 5 years ago, I saw the trailer for then the sequel of Evil Dead 2, and just the obsession's grown, and it's never left me. It's never left me.
That was the thing. Well, obviously, wasn't it? Because it was marketed as Army of Darkness, but with obviously the strapline, the medieval Dead.
Yeah, precisely.
And and unless you were actually really paying attention, because I mean, you're talking like, well, they started filming the first one, like 77 or something, and it didn't really come out until 81, and then Palace would have put it out on VHS, about 82 in the UK, around the same time Sam Raimi had to come across, didn't he, to fight the whole video nasty charge.
Video nasty thing,
and obviously because it wasn't the same kind of video nasty. It was a fantasy film, isn't it? It's not like Driller Killer and all those kind of things. And then you've got, again, they took ages to produce, like actually in the production of Evil Dead 2, which was 87. And then by 92, you've got Army of Darkness coming out, but there's no internet at the time, is there? So there's none of this whole like with Star Wars at the moment, there's none of this whole analyzing every poster, every trailer.
Yeah.
So you could get really easily, if it's not called Evil Dead 3,
you get easily confused.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Was it actually called the Medieval Dead? Was that the strapline, or was that sort of like a Turtles in Time, the Turtles movie that wasn't
that was
never
the
actually called it?
Yeah, that was the strapline on the UK VHS tape.
That's it, because as well,
we got a different ending as well.
Yeah, because we got the ending where he goes back to Michigan, isn't it? And he goes back to the store. Or did we get the one where he slept too long?
Yeah, we got the basically like armies of apocalypse style ending.
Oh, no, yeah, you are right. Yes,
and
I
it could have
remember
been because it was because Big Ben was in the background. It
That's
was
it.
like he woke up in sort of like futuristic London, and
Yeah,
at that point, obviously, I was thinking like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing because it's gonna be Ash now in the future
in England. Yeah.
fighting sort of like some kind of, I can imagine it now, like some kind of sort of Mad Max meets sort of like feudal Britain kind of weird mashup going on.
Yeah.
Like a steampunk kind of zombie
Oh, that'd be fun.
flick. But then I bought it on DVD, and obviously then I had the choice of each ending. I had the original theatrical cut ending, which was him back in
Michigan, in
Michigan, yes, in S-Mart, and where he's like, hail to the king, baby, and all that kind of stuff. And then, I preferred the future ending. I think.
I preferred the future ending, but when you did correct me, Steve, the penny dropped for me again as well, because I remember seeing the American version, and I almost remember putting the two side by side and sat there and was like, it's quite obvious why the Americans got the version as to when Ash one last time kicks ass right at the end, so then he becomes a hero. Whereas I think the English audience or the UK audience are kind of, I think we liked the fact that he was too much of a doofus, he was too ignorant to sit there and listen correctly, and it's his own damn fault. He slept too long. So what? Boo hoo. You're there now. Deal with it.
Yeah, and it was a great lead into a possible sequel, but also just it summarised his character of just like
exactly.
No film franchise in history has gone, this is your guy, by the way, for a trilogy, and you go no. Do you mean any other film that gives you Ash as the protagonist? You'd be like, oh, dude, come on, someone else.
There is no other person I can think of in cinema history and now television history where a character has been such an ignorant arsehole that you still root for him, no matter what. Even if he is being a complete dick to someone, you still root for him. Or you're just like, that's okay, because it's Ash. It's fine that he's called you and or whatever and just smacked your head or something like that,
Yeah,
it's okay because it's Ash.
He has all of the sort of like misogynistic qualities of Captain James T. Kirk, with really none of the actual sort of brains or anything.
No.
We're basically going to use all our good material here before we've even started the show.
But just quickly, the closest I think that anyone's ever got to Ash in a major motion picture would be, in a watered down version, would be Chris Pratt's Star-Lord.
Yes.
That's about
the great comparison.
Indiana Jones and Han Solo kind of, but never did you have to suffer through endless retardation.
Yeah, you're okay with him being the anti-hero, but at the same time just being just about tolerable enough of an idiot.
Yeah.
But
right, yes. So I love him. Everyone loves him.
Right. Should we get down to it, chaps?
Have we even sort of explained what we're going to be doing?
Nah.
I mean, basically, in a nutshell, this is a commentary / companion piece to the show. Each episode is going to be an episode of the show, and we're going to watch it, talk about it, and commentate it over it almost. I think, every now, I think eventually we'll sort of do the films as well, and
definitely,
drop them in, even the remake and that.
I love the remake.
I think one day what would be cool as well if we're all in the same town at the same time is maybe do like a playthrough of some of the old games and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so where are we? Okay, we've all got it lined up literally on the Stars Originals Presents screen. So I mean, everyone get your DVDs, your iTunes, or wherever you're watching it on the ready. And Dean, do you want to lead us in?
Play. So after 3, gentlemen, 3, 2, 1, play.
And it begins.
I love it how already we're just silent because we're just waiting for just that intro for it.
It's a genius intro because not only does it go back to basically My Name is Bruce, where like you expect Bruce Campbell to be living in a trailer anyway, and it does play on the fact that he is like washed up and out of shape, and again it's what you think Bruce Campbell is like in real life, but it's a beautiful shot because it's got the same cuts and edits where it looks like Ash is doing something, you know, like he's building his like hand or he's
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
strapping her body to a table to chainsaw it, but no, it's literally him getting into a girdle.
Yeah, because he's too fat at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just sums it up.
The really cheap, shitty looking aftershave as well. Look, just the dancing around on his own, drinking from a kid's drinks carton. What?
But why? But why do we love him, and why do we want to be him?
Just looks like he's in that shot entirely. He's the last person you'd want to hang out with, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's just so ignorant.
He's the least aspirational hero ever, but my God, he's so cool because I think it's just because he doesn't. I don't know. It's cool.
It often makes you wonder there with that scene, for the fact that he's time travelled, he's come back from the medieval ages. He has that story. Does he still have his metal hand? Why has he got wooden one?
Yeah.
Or is it because of the fact he's trying to still get away from what happened, you know, all those years ago, 30 years ago? He just can't admit it.
I love it that he's still got the Oldsmobile as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Love Raimi's touch with that. The fact that every piece that they do or every movie, he tortures Bruce with that indirectly, whether he's in the movie or whether he's not in the TV show or the movie. He will use it as much as he can, just because he knows Campbell hates that car.
Wasn't it in Oz as well? It's been in every one of his films.
Yes, it's been in everything. Yeah,
Spider-Man's.
No matter how he gets it in, he gets it in.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, in Drag Me to Hell, it was the Gypsy Woman's car, wasn't it? As simple as that.
It was even in the Evil Dead remake.
Oh, yes, of course, all overgrown. Mia sitting on there when they first turned up at the cabin.
Which was a great touch as well, because it looked like it could be a continuation from Ash's adventures, that someone else has gone back to the cabin.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a remake and it's not a sequel, but it's in that grey zone where it gives them the option to be either.
Do you know, when I watched it, I got the assumption that it would work as if it was a parallel sort of universe thing happening. Because I sat there and as soon as I saw the Oldsmobile all covered over, I thought, you know what, Ash has disappeared and it's like these people have just turned up and then one of them's going to get transported back as well. That's how I looked at it. Because
that was the thing, obviously, the continuity and Sam Raimi don't really go together very well. Because obviously, so the continuity of this series is that it takes place after the theatrical ending where he's back in Dearborn, Michigan, and he's back at S-Mart. But obviously in this one, he's not at S-Mart. But obviously, because the Oldsmobile gets sucked through the time vortex, doesn't it? At the end of Evil Dead 2. Yet it's back overgrown in Evil Dead Remake. So it's whatever fans want it to be, and I like that because Sam Raimi and everything is just like, fuck continuity. Just because even the end of Evil Dead 2 is nothing like the opening to Army of Darkness, is it? It's a completely different scene.
Yeah, I mean, what is happening with the Evil Dead remake?
It's definitely
the sequel.
I mean, I don't know, but it's the best remake / reboot of any film ever.
For a standalone horror, if you look at it as a standalone horror, it's phenomenal. Like, it's brilliant.
It sits next to all of my Evil Dead DVDs and VHS tapes, and I don't think a lot of people could say that about, like, for example, you can say about the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, could you? No. You would not. You probably wouldn't even own it, let alone put it on the same pedestal. But it's perfect. It fits in nicely.
I need to stop you guys here. Sorry. With this particular scene, how many of you guessed that it would have been Ash and how he particularly screwed up?
Well, of course.
It's always Ash.
As you said, Dean, Evil Dead 2 transition there.
Oh, it's so good.
This is the thing, because the first thing, when I first saw the Ash vs Evil Dead poster, I was like, is this related to the series, the remake film? Are they going to tie it in eventually? Are they... You know, is he going to cross over through this series into the sequel eventually if it comes out? Because the first thing I noticed was they used the same Evil Dead logo / font. For
the movie. Now, when I read the interviews, Raimi's already said that the idea that they had and the script that they had for an Evil Dead sequel, it just no production company would afford it or would even risk putting that sort of money forward, and they felt that the best thing for it was a TV adaptation, which I don't know. So far, it seems like a bloody good idea.
Mm.
I guess Campbell's happy that he's in a TV series that's going to be like successful. You know.
Oh, we talking
Burn
about
notice
Jack
for
of all.
7 years.
Yeah, Jack of all trades.
trades.
Yeah, but that's what
Frisco
it is.
County Junior.
You don't know, but he says it himself. His character Sam Axe is probably the longest-serving character he's been able to play consistently, other than Ash. You know, so
Yeah.
oh, that intro. The music's perfect as well, isn't it?
Everything's perfect. It's brilliant. It's got that ding 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 ding, ding. You know that weird sound that you can't quite place. That's in the background of the Evil Dead films, like the creeping vine stuff. And I love this. Do you know what? The second I got to college and I was given a camcorder, I went straight out into the back fields and
Nailed it on a plank of wood.
I literally went straight out into the back fields behind the college and just held it down low by my knees and moved through the grass and up to the college to take like a shot of it. And then I ripped the sound effects, the force effect, like sound effects, and put it straight over.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so iconically brilliant. And if you play it backwards at double speed, it's actually a constant scream.
Really?
Yeah. Most things are probably, but it really. I was like freaked out. I was in the editing suite, and I'd ripped it off the VHS tape, and I went to rewind to go and try and place another edit.
Mm-hmm.
And line it up, and as I reran it, it was just like, and I was like, oh my god, it was even creepier. And I was hoping that would be kind of, some kind of subtle sort of Judas Priest LPs backwards kind of thing, but it's probably just
box set.
Yeah, probably just coincidence.
Now we've got, I guess, one of the main protagonists, almost, the police officer and her partner walking into the house and clearly discovering what's been left of, I guess, a possession, But it was at this point that I even sat there and realised, because we saw Ash acting like a complete cock. We've seen him being a complete and utter dick in the bar. It's got all of that Army of Darkness-esque to it. But I was still waiting for the real horror, because I think the way they made the way the Deadites look are possibly the most disturbing-looking possessed people in movies ever. Particularly the makeup and just how they look. They have an Exorcist Regan look, but then at the same time a decomposed demonic S to them. And it was this particular area of the TV series that really solidified like my liking and my approval of it. As soon as I saw the first Deadite, I was just like, you know what, that's spot on. It's perfect.
Is with all the sort of like all the zombies out there, all of like the Insidious and all these other kind of like horror films, there is something that it's just, you look at it and go, that's Evil Dead. It's carved out its own place, its own design,
goofy.
its own look.
It's goofy, but it's still creepy.
That's perfect, Sam.
And I love the way that the Deadites act as well. That when they did the original Evil Dead, and then as the films got goofier, they haven't kind of like moved away from it. It is still that. Well, yeah, it's like they're really unnervingly creepy because they're very cocky and arrogant because they are in a meat suit. They're not. It's not so much them. It's just so they're going to be like,
they're going to be gutsy, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, here's a perfect example, like you guys saying that the Deadites almost have chiseled themselves in history. If you could see something and you could say Raimi's done that, or that's a Deadite. One particular way was in Drag Me to Hell, the goat, and when the Spanish guy gets possessed, where they're doing the Ouija board. Oh, there it is, first Deadite. Oh God, it's horrible, isn't it? Twisting of the arms over. And then the goofiness,
But Sam Raimi never sacrifices entertainment for any kind of bullshit, though, does he?
No.
He knows that he wants it scary, he wants it gory and bloody, but he wants it funny, but ultimately he wants it entertaining.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like as well, that Campbell and Raimi have already said, that stars have said that they can literally do what they want. That particular scene just then, scissors through the hand. What a way to open, some gore in a TV show.
This
with
as well, what's coming up.
But again, it's the way it's shot as well.
Like that.
It's scissors, pick up, hand, scream, up, stab through. Do you mean the way he films it, the way he cuts it? It's just, it's like if you wrote something in bullet points, he films it like it's in bullet points. It's Deadite, man, push, antlers. Oh
man, that's
actually. This bit coming up, actually, when you're hearing the noises in a second, I really did like fanboy out a little bit and go, oh my god, and then I realised the logical thing was going to be what comes up, the partner crawling around, but I really wanted it to be the hand.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because I heard like creepy crawling, I was like, oh my god, could the hand be back already?
It's such a brilliant scene. The whole part. It's almost like it captures Evil Dead history. Like, you've got the possession, you've got the goofiness and the wackiness of the Deadite, you've got the demonic, like he's running across the ceiling and this, that, the other, and then what happens later on when he ends up begging for her to help him. The same as Linda with Ash in the first movie.
It's just off the bat, isn't it? It's no like
there's no fucking around.
You in, is it? It's just, this is Evil Dead. Deal with it.
That's what I love most about it. It's not like, oh, by the way, this is what the Evil Dead is. It's like, no, it's like, basically, this is for fans. Go, if you don't know what the Evil Dead is, fuck you. I don't care. I ain't telling you. It's you know what everyone looks like when they're Dead. Basically, the rules are set, the tropes are there, full steam ahead, no messing. Deadites do this. They trick you. They change Henrietta, like Henrietta, so like
That's it, yeah.
Demon, Deadite goes, and she's like, I remember when we brought you home from hospital. So strange, it snowed. Yeah. All that kind of stuff, This is that thing in my basement is not my mother. and then the other guy's like, rah!
The irony of you just saying the other guy's like, rah, and then just on there, her partner turns back into the demon.
And it's great as well because it looks it's very similar to how Ash turns in Evil Dead 2 as well.
Yes, yeah. The teeth particularly, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm probably sure they're using better contact lenses than the glass ones that used to blind the actors.
Yeah, and with a syringe of milk, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the fake head, didn't you? The fake head and the eye. And they pumped the milk in. And so, man, I mean that's what filmmaking is. That's what I don't like. Any criticism about CGI blood. They're on a TV budget. They're going to mix practical and CGI as best they can to fit the show.
Yeah. It's the style, isn't it? Like they can put on like a rubber suit and have fake blood squirting out of it, and it will cost about 20 quid. But that is the show. That is the film, isn't it? When Ted Raimi's in the suit spinning on the ceiling, and you can see big splits, and you can see him wearing like tracksuit bottoms underneath.
Yeah. Everything the trilogy did was basically done on a shoestring, done on a budget. If there's a cheaper way of doing it, they do it. But just how creative they were with that limited budget puts most Hollywood directors to shame.
Yeah.
What Sam Raimi can achieve with next to nothing that's where he's my favorite director. Because you can never watch a Sam Raimi film and not instantly go, that's Sam Raimi. His angles, his shots, his pans, his swoops, his spins. They are
permanently signatured.
Yes, exactly, signature.
Can I just comment as well of how good Campbell is looking, like for his age and for the fact that he doesn't do a lot of big movies and this, that, the other. But does anyone else think he's he just looks sort of in shape for the movie, and you can picture him as being this old as Ash instead of him just being just a normal B-movie actor, TV actor sort of thing, letting himself go. He looks like he's really got in shape.
I will say, basically, I mean, obviously, I know there's a massive age difference, but it is a lot easier to watch Ash now coming back than it is to watch Harrison Ford come back as Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. Even
also,
her.
I think the burn note, 7 years on burn notice, he's probably had to be in semi kind of shape for that. So
Yeah, well, for the Sam
moving
Axe,
well. So
yeah, for the Sam Axe standalone movie, he had to get fairly in shape for that, didn't he? Was he an ex CIA agent, isn't he?
yeah,
He's only 30 pounds overweight, so it's all right.
I love how
sorry,
big
10.
when they're when he's in his trailer, how big it is inside compared to
How
the
big?
outside of it.
Yeah.
But that, again, that's just Evil Dead. That's why I love, again,
Like the
I will
cabbage
always,
is huge compared to.
I will always rate Sam Raimi's films because he goes out and makes a film.
Mm.
It's a film. Nothing has to make sense. It's just a film. But
No.
but because he approaches it like that and does it like that, it's acceptable.
Has anybody questioned at all why Ash is working at Value Stop and not S-Mart?
Well, think about what he did in S-Mart last time he was there. He probably
Yeah,
got sacked.
Yeah, I guess. I wonder if they actually establish it, though.
But I think there was something else. I think it was like one of the games or something like that where it wasn't S-Mart. I think maybe because S-Mart is just in Evil Dead Army of Darkness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only in Army of Darkness, yeah.
Maybe something to do with what studio owns that film, still owns the rights or something.
Very possibly.
Yeah,
That's
true.
why, there's not really many references to like Army of Darkness in this so far, or in the games, that come out because of like a rights thing. I think sort of similar, like Kevin Smith's mentioned certain things about when he goes back to films or certain properties, he can't do certain things because a certain studio still owns the right to it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bet my bottom dollar that is what it is.
Because it always made me wonder. S-Mart, in my opinion's as big in the Evil Dead franchise as much as like the character names. It's a big staple, and it often I saw it, and I was just, even when you saw production pictures and him wearing a Value Stop badge, I was just a bit like, okay, fair enough, he's at a different place, maybe he's moving on from being there to get away from his demons, but then I'd wonder if it was never addressed, and it seemed like nobody brought it up.
Well, just by looking at the production notes of Army of Darkness, Universal is one of the people who produced Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they didn't produce the first two.
No, they didn't.
And this, so I would bet money on it that it is something to do with rights.
Ray Santiago as well, playing Pablo. I think so far he's quite a cool little character. I quite like him as a sort of little side man,
Do you know what this reminds me of, actually? Speaking of Kevin Smith, do you remember Reaper?
I don't think I saw Reaper.
You never saw Reaper? Oh, man.
No.
But obviously, Reaper, you got the son of the devil, and he's charged with reaping souls, and they work in a sort of like a value DIY store.
Okay.
And it has that very similar feel. Obviously being sort of produced by Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
So when I first saw this, I was like, oh man, what a crossover opportunity this would be. Because I really liked Reaper. I really, really loved that show. And they left on a cliffhanger, but then cancelled it.
I just love how smooth he tries to be, fucks up in his conversation, and tries to snap back straight away when he's talking to Kelly. Like, it's like, obviously she's mentioning like my mother died in a car crash or this, that, and he's just like, oh, and then he tries to flip the blame onto her. He's so smooth, but such a dick. God damn it, Bruce.
Have you ever used that line? Have you ever used any of his lines actually out on a, like, in a pub or a club? You ever tried to say, hey baby,
this is my boomstick?
Yeah, this is my boomstick. Ever done Hail to the King?
No.
That's probably why you're married.
Yeah. I've said give me some sugar. I've used give me some sugar, but that was with my wife, so I kind of got away with it.
What?
Yeah, she was probably like, Dean, I'd stop quoting that film.
It's bad enough you got it tattooed on you now.
Yeah.
You're talking like it.
Well, as we said, it scarred us for life, literally. So
yeah. The Blue Lake Diner. Even this particular scene where, the police officer, I forgot a character name already. off the top of my head, I can't think of it. I'll quickly research it in a moment. But even this, they're sitting in the diner. She's obviously clearly like, as the scene just occurred then, paranoid what people are thinking now after what she's gone and seen in that house.
Yeah.
And even when the child in a moment, she thinks she's like seeing deadites everywhere. I sat there and watched when I first saw that scene. I was like, Jesus Christ.
See, I'm just thinking that she's sitting there with sort of post-traumatic stress disorder, going, do you remember that scene where Peter Parker did the John Travolta dance down the sidewalk in Spider-Man 3?
Oh, God.
I actually love that scene. I love that film, so...
This is such
Sam Raimi can do no wrong.
It's just the makeup and the special effects. Oh, it just looks disgusting and evil. The Deadites have to be the most horrible-looking, demonic creature in film history, in my opinion. They're hideous things.
What I like most is they all have a unique look. There's a kind of consistent look, but for example, obviously, you've got, well, because of the budget in Evil Dead 1, they just do whatever they can, don't they?
Yeah.
And then in Evil Dead 2, they really go all out with each of them to make them look really different. And then especially, obviously, the whole transformation from Henrietta to Pee Wee Head.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like still weird. And I love it.
How's everyone seeing with Lucy Lawless so far in the TV show? She's still looking damn good for her age.
Banging.
Well, what character do you think she's portraying?
Oh, she's Nobi. She's a Nobi, isn't she?
I don't know, but what is she doing exactly? Like, why is she after Ash?
Well, because she probably thinks that Ash killed
right.
her sister and her dad and her mum. Because
yes.
obviously, Raymond Nobi and Henrietta Nobi were in the cabin translating the Necronomicon Ex Mortis.
Gotcha. That completely slipped my mind.
Which is a book that changed its name several times, obviously, doesn't it, for a franchise? I love this. This is straight out of Oz. Straight out of Oz.
But it's picking out stuff from Evil Dead 2 and the Army of Darkness side of things, isn't it? It still keeps so sort of true to its roots, and that's what's perfect.
Ash being tortured by something he shouldn't actually be being tortured by, because one of the best scenes in the entire trilogy is the windmill scene.
Yeah.
With all the little ashes.
The mini ashes, yeah.
And for what they did in '92 with no budget,
managing to get them all out of little shards of glass. Sorry, that's hilarious.
to do that special effect, and obviously Bruce Campbell doing all his own sort of like front and back flips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What I love about
here we go, bang, punishment.
That's it.
Because obviously, this is CGI, so there isn't an actual doll on his face. So he's actually just like, Sam's like, Bruce, just grab that and smash yourself in the face with it.
So you got to listen to the Nerdist interview with Bruce Campbell, because he was saying even on that like half a day he was on the Oz set, Sam Raimi was punishing him by making him do certain things that weren't even going to be in the film.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to check that out.
But what I like about the comics, the Army of Darkness comics, I got the whole set, and a lot of them has some like still photos and some behind the scenes pictures.
Yeah.
And there's a still of all the mini ashes, and it's quite funny. It's almost like the Matrix, with the Mr. Andersons. If you pause it, you can see like 90% of them are not actually Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like doubles that look nothing like him.
This is a beautiful bit in the TV show now. This was a really well shot scene coming up.
Oh yeah, the flashbacks and that.
Oh look, this scene, the storm coming over the value stop. That's just so good, and the music is so good as well. We're probably going to be in silence at this because it's just such a great scene with Ash explaining what happened 30 years ago and why he is who he is, and why he is and how it became.
I think the absence of Army of Darkness stuff on here as well sort of confirms again about about the legal
the legal side of
it.
things.
Yeah.
There is no real need to reference Army of Darkness in this, is there? Because
I guess not particularly, no. This is such a beautiful scene. Even the way it's shot with an old projector on the boxes and that. It's just so well thought of.
Silence.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're watching this with us, just appreciate the scene that's going on. Explaining everything, going to the cabin, how it all screwed up, losing his hand, the scene, the chainsaw scene. So good. Scotty, Cheryl, Linda.
You love it. You just knowing them all.
Oh, it's
bang,
just,
bang,
yes,
bang.
that's what I'm saying. It's just such... it's an important piece of my life, really.
I had a signed Linda picture, and because I picked that up, and I picked one up for you as well, didn't I, Steve?
I remember,
signed. Yeah, and but mine got ruined in a move. The box got wet, and fucking the picture was all ruined. So yeah, that was a shame. It was a bargain as well. It was only like $5 or something.
Not bad. I like it as well how this Pablo is still just adamant on trying to get Ash to admit to his demons and sort of come back and help because he can understand something's going on.
Admit to his demons.
It's so well done as well. Like, just everything about it just puts such a smile on my face seeing Ash again.
But it's not a cash in, is it? It's not a cash in. It's not someone else going, oh, that was popular. Even the remake, it would never have been made without the oversight of Bruce Campbell, Tapper, and Raimi.
No, precisely.
I think it's what fans have been dying for, and it is, the perfect. It is basically everything the fans wanted,
Yeah,
it's like I suppose when the remake came back, everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be a remake. It's not going to be Bruce Campbell in it. It's going to be all modern and new." But this is exactly.
Yeah, it's just what's needed. It's definitely the original. What's needed. I mean, when there was talk of it was going to get rebooted, and people were talking about the idea of then the two franchises then crossing over, because that was big talk. A lot of people were reporting it, and there was even Raimi was coming out of it and saying that the director, I've completely forgot his bloody name, that they were saying that they were thinking and having ideas of crossing the two franchises over. Feder Alvarez, even, that's his name, yeah. Feder Alvarez, they were saying that we're going to have him for the sequel, when we're thinking of Mia and Ash crossing each other's paths. And when that got canned, and they said, no, the sequel is just an Ash Evil Dead movie sequel is not going to happen, I was so gravely disappointed. I was just like, fucking really? I was like, I don't care if like half the world hate it. I just want to see it, and I want to see something, because it's as if the story's just is unfinished. It feels that way. But then when they came up with the idea and saying that it was going to go to a TV show, I did sit there and I kind of huffed, and I was a bit like, really? Like
on the remake.
Sorry?
Steve, you might be able to answer this. What was the box office on the remake?
It was good. It sort of almost tripled its money.
But it was so well done.
I think it's in the 60 odd 70 million mark.
Worldwide.
I'll check. Because I kept an eye on it, because I was really worried about the remake until I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. And 97 million worldwide with 17 million budget.
Yeah, that's
so
well. I've got it on
doing a sequel.
I've got it on IMDb. Yeah, 17,000.
No one wants to front the cash, do they? I suppose whoever backed the original was just like, yeah, I've got my money, I'm out of it.
Yeah,
you don't need to think, but you're right. I mean, this is the perfect channel for it, because you'd like. No, I mean stars, but I mean like the medium, because it's cult films, like anything that Kevin Smith does, like Clerks 3, Clerks the series, anything they touch. And with Evil Dead, it's money in the bank guaranteed. Just don't release it in 3,000 theaters on opening weekend and expect it to be money in your bank.
And then we just see another iconic Raimi technique with the Evil Dead spirit going across the value stock car park, smashing through two car windows, exactly like in Evil Dead 2. Yep.
I like it, the woman's like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Another little nod here.
You pointed this one out, Sam.
Yeah, it's the is it Christine's car from Drag Me to Hell? The blue, the green Ford Focus.
Mm-hmm.
I love Drag Me to Hell. That was
What
a
is-
brilliant film.
I mean, what, like the detail of them saying, right, not only am I going to get all these little Evil Dead nods and digging out the Oldsmobile, but trying to get a green Ford Focus as well.
Yeah.
It's just, and I remember, like, as soon as, like, what was it, like 2 days after this episode originally aired, I was searching Twitter for Ash vs Evil Dead, Green Focus, Ash vs Evil Dead, Drag Me to Hell, and I couldn't find anyone. There's like no one was out there talking about that little nod.
I love these little things just for the fact they're creating something new, but still at the same time they're taking these little references and just letting everybody know, just to say, like, it might be something new, but the old things are still living inside it, you know. Like with the reboot franchise, the amount of references in that was just astronomical.
Yeah.
And I was fanboying all over the place in the cinema when that was occurring.
Fangasm.
Oh, now
Inside the giant trailer.
Yeah, Pablo and Kelly are back at the trailer, confronting Ash.
And he's doing his old Army of Darkness thing.
That's it, yeah.
You know,
telling him I've done my thing.
Yeah, I've done my thing. Now it's time to send me home.
Here just cracked me up. It's just like such a Bruce moment, isn't it?
With a smile.
He's the coolest man on the planet.
And then the iconic scene that Steve was talking about, the spirit rushing up to the caravan, or the trailer even. And the silence.
He is fantastic, because like Bruce Campbell and William Shatner are just like, they're like just perfect. They need to make a film together before it's too late.
He's just such an idiot, and he's just like, what the hell? You know exactly what it is, Bruce.
Yeah, precisely.
Been through it 3 times.
Everything about it just puts a smile on my face so much.
I love these shots here. It's so Sam Raimi. That's what, again, first time I watched Darkman, I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, you could tear that one apart, couldn't you? Yeah.
So much Sam Raimi stuff in there. It's just like, and obviously because he directed it, but even the Spider-Man films, like I was sitting in the cinema every time I went to see one, I was like, Evil Dead shot, Evil Dead shot, Evil Dead shot, Evil Dead shot, Evil Dead. You know, the chainsaw scene in Spider-Man 2, you know, where the doctor's on the ground and, like, you know, obviously the point of view of all the tentacles, and he looks at the chainsaw and then looks back and it's like chainsaw. Oh.
And it was clearly a reference, yeah.
Yeah, because even cuts to the chainsaw grab.
I love this bit too. Like, he's just sitting here as, look, the only friends he probably has in distress. Like, oh, here it is. It's so goofy. It's so goofy.
And now we remember why we love him so much, because he's also badass.
Yeah, exactly. He might be a complete dickhead, but he can do shit like that. Oh, this scene.
Love that shot.
It's so good. The zoom in. So it's Evil Dead, isn't it? It's the end of Evil Dead 2. Trying to get in.
It's the way he films it, the way he captures it. It's no director ever bothers to try and emulate it, and that's what I did actually appreciate a little bit with the Evil Dead remake, was that they did try to incorporate as many styles as possible without it standing out as a
complete copy. Yeah. Yes, and Ash is just so corny. Yeah, he's so like cowboy-esque, isn't he? I love it, with just him getting tooled up, the leather belt and stuff. Such a this Deadite reminds me of computer game style Deadites, with the comical laughing, the fighting.
Well, there's probably a ton of the game nods in this as well, but I love that bit there. But there's a ton of the game nods in here, but obviously none of us have played them in so long we've forgotten them. Yeah,
well, it's just.
I don't know, because I remember that time we were like both playing through Fistful of Boomstick at the same time, and I got stuck towards the final level and gave up. But you actually sort of like went through, didn't you? Then came around and showed me how to get through the final puzzle. Klaatu, brother.
I love that.
Okay, I said
I
it.
need, I need some cardio because my heart's jackhammering like a quarterback on prom night. Such a great line.
But I love the art, kind of like the whole life imitating art kind of aspect. That it's like a few, so like 30 years ago, me and my friends went to a cabin in the woods.
Oh,
And I've been running from it ever since. Because Bruce Campbell, Rob Tapper, Sam Raimi went to a cabin in the woods 30 years ago, virtually.
Great.
yeah.
And
How the hell did he
and
not see that shadow?
Yeah.
but Bruce Campbell can't get away from it.
Yes, exactly. Oh,
And now it's finally come back for him.
30 years later, he's just almost been, riding the fucking coattails of Evil Dead for 30 years.
Yeah.
And now it's finally come back full circle.
yeah. I like it as well how the Deadites sitting here saying, "We found you, Ash." Like they've been after him for so many years.
It's even
Well,
Sam...
I mean, he's the only guy that's ever sort of messed up their plans.
Well, yeah, and he's the prophet for, against them, isn't he? So
yeah. And considering when you think about how much of actual arse hat he is.
yeah.
So I was already sold on this show 1,000,000%. But the moment...
Oh, what with the chainsaw dive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just throwing my credit cards at the screen. Just like, take my money. Like that, I love them like floats as well.
Yeah.
The...
That's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a terrifying like act to put in a movie. It just makes them look.
This shot coming up, I absolutely love this because no one films an eyeball like Sam Raimi.
But this is particularly a nod to the zombie movie. I think it's damn it! I think it's Zombie. In actual fact, there's a scene where a woman gets
in the eyes, the old Three Stooges things, isn't it?
It's a scene where a woman gets dragged into a splinter, and it looks a lot like a fingernail. And in my opinion, it's almost a nod to that.
It's just the way he films it. He does it so he films eyeballs like no other director. And this bit is just like, right, okay, everyone, pants down.
Yeah, pants down.
Let's just admit.
It's almost like The Force as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, what a dive.
This is why it couldn't be released in the cinemas, because no one wants to mop up after the fanboys go in.
Army of Darkness.
Fuck Han Solo.
Yeah.
Ash has returned, man. That shot there.
Oh, it makes you itch, doesn't it?
The eyeball close-up, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Raimi hadn't gone out and actually bought film stock just to film that one shot to make it look like Evil Dead 1 and 2 and that.
This particular scene as well, I think solidifies what the fans are going to be getting or looking forward to, is the fact that you've had everything so far and you know that you can expect decapitations, Look,
it's such a beautiful clean. They all get splashed a bit as well.
Yeah. And look, it's because that is at the end of the day, that's Evil Dead. It's
Ash
pure
is back,
gore.
baby.
Look, it's disgusting. Blood pumping from the neck. You've got it all. You've got it all.
And is everyone ready for the money shot?
Yeah, wait for it.
Splash!
Groovy. Oh man, it's so good.
That little flashing logo at the end just says, "Yeah, boy."
Yeah, doesn't it? Even the credits at the end they're corny, they're camp, but they're just right, aren't they?
Do you know what? Again, it reminds me of, because who did Sam Raimi sort of like hang around with? He used to hang around with the Coen brothers. He's friends with like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
So
yeah, exactly.
It's got that 70s feel, and it's got that random music. Do you remember the end of Evil Dead 1? You're like, where the fuck did this music come from?
Yeah, precisely. How unnerving and uncomfortable does the song sit?
Yeah, it doesn't match the film at all. But no one noticed it really. It was just a random thing. But now Tarantino has come around, and he makes a career out of films with soundtracks. Just they go so perfectly, but they don't go at the same time.
Yeah, it's almost like it's deliberately standing out. I mean, one thing I just wanted to point out just then is we saw a quick scene of Pablo holding up a necklace, and I'm hoping that there's even going to be little things like that are going to be little nods to the older movies and stuff like that. It looked like Pablo was holding up the necklace that Ash gives his girlfriend Linda in Evil Dead 1 and the speed up in Evil Dead 2. Now, it makes me wonder whether there's like they go back in time and they find like artifacts that have been recovered or this, that, the other. That's one thing I'm hoping for in this series is time travel.
Oh,
you know,
actually, sorry, Sam, going back to what you just said, courtesy of Studio Canal, right? Now, Studio Canal have the rights to Evil Dead 1 and 2, but I don't know if they have the rights to Army of Darkness, because obviously courtesy of was the snippets, the flashbacks. So I think you are right with that they couldn't have any Army of Darkness stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, what you were saying a minute ago, Steve, as well, about how it's come almost full circle. You got to think, Bruce Campbell, I mean, he's done some good stuff recently, but he's almost lived the life of a struggling B-movie actor. And Sam Raimi has been riding the high A-list director, you know, Spider-Man franchise. It pretty much was one of the biggest franchises of all time. And for both of them, both ends of the spectrum, you know, it's come around full circle to something they both love, and they both started doing.
And I tell you now, that is why, that was the main reason I got the Evil Dead tattoo. It's not just my favourite film series of all time. I will nail my flag to the mast and say that Evil Dead, I like it more than Star Wars, Back to the Future, Star Trek, Jurassic Park.
It's because it was so important in your childhood.
Evil Dead, to me, is something so important. And what you said, Sam, the whole full circle thing is, this tattoo on my chest represents friendship, of what three friends can do if they harness their talents and set out together. In the 70s, they aim to make a film. They make Within the Woods. They then get the financing, they blag it, they push it, they do whatever they can. They get Evil Dead made. And then even when, Sam Raimi is making fucking Spider-Man, fucking Spider-Man, he never forgets his brothers, never forgets Bruce Campbell, and he never forgets the Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
Never, ever, for 1 second, has ever forgotten where he came from and the people that helped get him there. And that is what I love most about the Evil Dead. Sorry to get all preachy for a second.
No,
there,
but I couldn't be. I couldn't
Evil
be
Dead
any
means
more
to me more than anything else.
Yeah, I couldn't be in any more agreement with you. Everything about it is, like you were saying, going around in full circle. And Sam saying that Raimi's been riding the wave of being a top director in Hollywood, but at the same time he's saying Ash or Bruce Campbell even has just still been that little fringe TV show movie actor. But his last book that or the book of his that I've got, Confessions of a B movie actor. Yeah. In that book, it puts everything so perfectly into perspective of him admitting to where he is. He might not be that's what Bruce Campbell is famous for being. He's famous for being that fringe person or the most famous B movie actor.
He actually is, because remember, before Bruce Campbell came along the scene, Doug McClure, who obviously Troy McClure from The Simpsons was based on.
Yeah,
he was probably, I would say, the most famous B movie actor of his day. But then before that, you had Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in the Hammer films.
Yeah,
and Bruce Campbell he's embraced it. He hasn't done anything stupid. He hasn't jumped up and down on a sofa and tried to be anything.
I deserve better,
Yeah, he's and he's embraced it. My Name is Bruce is one of the funniest films, the most enjoyable films I've ever seen in my life, and that's when something is different when you watch a film. And not only do you go, okay, right, you can watch Star Wars and you go, Harrison Ford's cool. But you watch a film like Evil Dead, and then you follow the career of Bruce Campbell, and you watch a film about Bruce Campbell, but it's not really about Bruce Campbell. And there's something, you love Bruce Campbell. I can't, I'm trying to explain.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain, what it's like to, it's like he's not. He's different in any. I don't think there's a single actor on this planet who is exactly who's the same as Bruce Campbell.
No, there
He's
isn't.
carved out his place in history, cinematic history, as something wholly unique that fans just love him. And I don't mean they just love him because he's the box office flavour of the month. You know, he's not just like Will Smith for 10 years and then he'll go. No, they absolutely love Bruce Campbell.
It's
In
like
anything he does.
Yeah, it's I've for the fact that I've got him tattooed on my arm. Everyone's like, "Well, who's that?" And I'll be like, "It's Bruce Campbell." I won't say like Ash of Evil Dead. They'll say, "Oh, what's the tattoo?" And I'll say, "Oh, it's a comic book adaptation of a scene from Army of Darkness. The actor's Bruce Campbell." And I'll be like, "Who's that?" And I'll be like, "He's in the Evil Dead movies." But then most of the people will sit and go, "Oh yeah, I've heard of the Evil Dead." And it's like, yeah, he's like the main guy. He's the main guy of the trilogy. And they'll sit there and be like, oh, right. They don't seem to know him. But even then, I don't even feel slightly sort of embarrassed that people don't even know that who he is on my arm. I think that if anything, makes it even more of a better feeling to have something like that on my arm that is so sentimental to myself.
It's a filter. The important people know. If you don't know, see, it's like, hello, do you know who this is? No, next.
It's like a secret
do you know
handshake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is because it's a cult movie, and we love Bruce Campbell.
It's like I went to I went to the a friend's birthday not too long ago, and it was fancy dress, and I went as Ash from Evil Dead, and then we ended up going into Chicago's over at Bas Vegas, and I had my own little self-made chainsaw, and I must admit it looked the nuts, and I looked the part. I had the shirt and everything. Got into Chicago's with self-made chainsaw. I had the leather straps all across my chest. I had the gun holster on my back.
It
I had
obviously didn't look that real then, mate.
Oh yeah, exactly. I had the shotgun on my back. But then when I was in there, some guy came up to me, and you could tell he was alternative sort of guy, and he was like, "Man, that costume's so cool." And he was like, "You like Evil Dead then?" I was like, "Yeah, I love Evil Dead." And then he saw my like "They Live" tattoo that's on my left hand that is obviously visible because the right hand has the chainsaw and the long sleeve on still. And he was like, "Oh man, you've got a "They Live" tattoo." And he was like, "Have you got any Evil Dead tattoos?" I was like, "Fucking hell yeah!" And he was just like lapping it up, and he was like, "Man, it's so cool to meet someone who knows who Bruce Campbell is." And it wasn't a case of saying, "Oh, it's nice to meet someone who's a fan of Evil Dead." It was, "Who knows who Bruce Campbell is?"
You know he exists.
And for anyone interested, Dean's Grinder handle is
is a real Ash lover, mate.
Handle my Campbell.
Well, hey, are you on Grindr, Sam?
Not at the moment.
Well, that was
you suck it down like Campbell's soup.
That was the first episode of Ash versus Evil Dead. Out of 10, then, guys. Come on, we know what it's going to be, but out of 10.
It's groovy.
So
yeah, it is.
Groovy.
Yeah. Pumped up to 11.
Now, it's been commissioned already for a second season, which is absolutely phenomenal.
How many? It's 10 episodes, isn't it, in the first series?
Yes. In the first series, 10 episodes. So far on IMDb, it only just says season 2, episode 1. We've got the episode listings of each of the titles of the next episodes that are coming up and stuff. The next episode's called Bait. Episode 2 airing on the 7th of November. There is an episode called Ashes to Ashes in it, which sounds very good.
That was the name of the comic strip, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. You've got the last 3 episodes are Ashes to Ashes. Episode 9 is then Bound in the Flesh, and then episode 10 is the Dark one. So it's even these little sort of like you've obviously got Bound in Flesh is obviously referring to the Necronomicon, and I don't know. Let's sort of wait then until the next episode so we can then just fanboy everywhere else.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Awesome.
So, I mean, we haven't got any kind of Twitter handle or anything at the moment. But Dean, once this is done, do you want to knock one up and maybe stick a little message on the end and just say, "Oh, follow us here," or
yeah, sure, I'll be able
maybe
to
give the address of like YouTube or something.
Yep, absolutely, mate.
Cool beans.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we hope you're enjoying Ash vs. Evil Dead as much as we are. Next episode, Bait, airs the 7th of November. Hopefully, it'll probably be. We'll probably be able to record maybe the day after it airing, maybe even the evening of it airing. But you'll be sure to see us again, that's for certain.
Groovy.